free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Bork. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Oh, good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Monday. Yep. Oh, without Mondays, you can't have the weekend or extended 4-day holidays. So, hope you had a great holiday. Hope you had a chance to spend quality time with your family, along with the turkey and the fixings and the trimmings and all that good stuff. And I hope you took my advice, and as you sat around the table, you took turns sharing what you're thankful for this year. We had a big crowd, so if you had a big crowd, it took a while to make that circle. The highlight of my day was calling my 91-year-old grandmother back home, and she was happy as a clam. Why do they say that? How do we know clams are happy? We'll answer that later in this show. No, we won't. Hey, Michael's under the weather. He is a real trooper, a double trooper, a triple trooper, and despite his obvious illness, he made it through the live trading room today. So I promised him that we would just go straight to him as soon as we got in and let him get through the recap of the live trading room. When he's done, he's got to go see a doctor, and I'll be back with the numbers. I'll be back with a good word for the day. We'll talk about the free crude trade last night. We'll talk about the Concierge Trade Alerts. We'll talk about Trump's ticked off at his right-hand woman, Kelly Conway, whatever. Anyway, there's lots to talk about today. So, Michael, if you're ready, take it away.
Okay, I'm ready. I am ready.
Click.
There.
Okay. All right. I cannot see your chart.
Yeah, not yet. Hold on just a sec. There we go. Now you should see that just fine.
Got it. Loud and clear. Okay, I'm going to hit mute.
Okay. My printer is choking over there. Alright.
It sounded like a cow.
Yeah.
It sounded like it was mooing.
It's trying to find a piece of paper that it doesn't have.
Okay.
It's printing out the address of the doctors that I'm going to. Anyway, alright. Here we go. Hang on. Let me just cancel this thing if I can. Never mind. I found this. Okay, it's all done. Alright, and here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, the 28th day of November, 2016. Today, in the live training room, we had a red day. Crude oil just kicked my butt today. Every time I started to come back, it would knock me down again. I missed some really good trades in crude, and it was one of those days where it just seems like you get every losing trade in that market. Well, today was one of those days for me. So we're minus 24 in crude, we're plus 10 in gold, so we're minus 140 on the day. We also looked at the euro market, and I'll get into that in just a few minutes. There was a total of 11 opportunities this morning. What is crude? Excellent. A total of 11 opportunities this morning, and that I engaged in anyway. But anyway, on the month now, 34.1875 over 19 trading days, averaging 179 per day. On the year, 50.437 over 224 trading days, averaging 225 per day. Okay, 225 per day. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the home page at CFRN.net. In the right-hand column where it says name, put in your name. Where it says email, put in your email. Click on register for a free trial. When you do that, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click the confirmation link. Okay, you must click the confirmation link. That's that. Alright, let's get into the gold. Start right out with gold. You can see that we missed a couple of nice trades here. Shorting opportunity right there. Another one right there. A long right in there. Shorting opportunity right there. We finally got a long here for 10 ticks, and that was it. It's setting up a shorting opportunity right now, but it's not there yet. Okay, on the ES. The ES was stuffed in between these zones all morning, and we didn't have a single opportunity on it. Okay, it's still in between these zones. On crude, crude was my nemesis today. It really was. Our first trade here on crude. The first trade here on crude, we stopped out. We missed this trade, and on this one, we had 2 ticks profit, bringing us to -6. Then we stopped out again, putting us at -14. And we had 4 ticks profit there, bringing us to -10. And 1 tick there, bringing us to -9. We missed this short right here, which would have put us positive. But then we stopped out there, putting us at -17. 1 tick there, putting us at -16. then stopped out there again, putting us at minus 24. And that was where we ended with the crude. For all you guys who did the daily double, Dwayne nailed it today. For a $400 trade, right? The target, he said to get in at 47, stop loss 46.80, which is way down here, and a target of 46.40, which is way up here. And it went through the target for a $400 gain. Anyway, during the break, you had to wait until it got up here. It was a long opportunity right in there and there during the break. Then a short opportunity there and there. And notice, December grains, financials and metals all go to first notice Wednesday, November 30th. Okay. Yeah, and so that was it on the crude. We were minus 24 on the crude. Okay, on the YM we didn't trade at all because the ES was in between zones all morning. So, even though the YM had a nice run right here, and it gave it right back right there, it was pretty choppy most of the morning. Okay, and the euro, we had +8 on this one and -8 on this one. Okay, we missed that right there. And during the break, it had some nice legs down right here. That one, followed by that one, followed by that one. Nice legs down. And that was it. And that was it on the day with those markets. Okay, so if you have not taken our free trial, then go to the homepage here at CFRN.net, and in the right-hand column, put in your name, put in your email, click on register for a free trial. When you do that, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay, you must click that link. And yeah, there is, but we were break even on it today. But the euro is right here. It's the second column right here is the euro. But we're break even on it today. We had a +8 and a -8. So it cost us 2 trades. And as I said, we're down 140 today. Okay, we're down 140. All right. With that, I'm going to send it back out. Fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, if Dwayne is still hanging around. And we will get it over to him. Now, let's see. See, Crude has just been, well, for me anyway. It stopped us out that first time pretty much to the tick, and then it went down and did what it should have done. Yeah, and that one, if I'd have gotten in at the right place, I'd have been out at break even. And
was that you calling me?
yeah,
I thought the
yeah, I'm ready to send it back over to
thought
you.
the back phone rang. All right, buddy. Well, listen. I hope you feel better.
Okay, thank you.
And if he tells you to, bend over, take that penicillin.
That's not how you check for pneumonia.
No. He's gonna give you a
Wrong end.
shot. He's gonna give you a shot. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Let me get the screens back. What do we got up here? December grains, financials, and metals.
Send notice.
So, when will we be rolling forward on these?
Well, we already rolled forward on crude. All we have to look at is gold and
bonds.
Bonds. Yeah, gold and bonds.
And we already rolled beans. Okay. So
I
bonds.
think so.
Yeah, we did ZSX. I mean, we're in ZSF 7.
Yeah, ZSF.
Okay.
Means
So bonds.
bonds and gold. So let me look. Right now, gold, the Z contract has 151,000, and the G contract has 109,000. So that'll probably
we'll be going to G. Okay.
Mhm.
And bonds will be going to.
Well, right now, bonds will be going to the H, I think.
H.
Yeah, we're going to H in bonds.
All right, guys. If I'm making a note to myself, but when I send out the Concierge Trade Alerts tonight, if it don't look right, get a hold of me and say you're gonna have to do it all over again, and I'll go, oh man, and then I'll do it all over again. Okay. But
I think the volume on right now. We shouldn't roll today. I think we roll tomorrow.
oh, okay.
Okay, because the volume right now is still in the current contract on both of those.
Okay.
It's
I think it's going to
close.
switch really quick. I'll check them tonight. Maybe I'll check tonight and see what the night. I'll see if there's been a shift when the evening session opens.
Okay.
All right, man. Feel better.
All right. Thanks. See you later.
All right. Bye bye. Okie dokie. Here we are. Let's take a look at the numbers. Okay. We'll start here in the U.S. These are the cash numbers. The Dow is down 35 points. The NASDAQ is down 14 points. S&P 500 is down 6. And the Russell 2000 is down 11.5. Now that's almost 1% for the Russell. Now, we said we were going to talk about this the other day, and we never did. So let's see if we can't pull it up. Russell moving to CME, or back to the CME. Go to news. Boy, I don't have. Okay, this bit of news goes all the way back to August 3rd. Okay, let's take a look at that. This is from Reuters. This goes all the way back to August. CME Group said Monday it struck an agreement with the London Stock Exchange to list derivatives contracts based on Russell indexes that are currently listed only on the rival ICE market. ICE, baby, ICE. The licensing agreement is for 12 years and pertains to futures, options on futures, and cleared over-the-counter products based on FTSE and Russell indexes. The financials of the deal were not disclosed. Ooh, does this mean we'll get a shot to trade the FTSE at a fair margin? Oh, stop my beating heart. A deal which will give CME exclusive listing rights for contracts on FTSE and Russell indexes once ICE's agreement with Russell expires in mid-2017 could represent a $76 million hit to ICE's earnings before interest and tax. ICE, by the way, don't cry for them too much. They made $3.09 billion in consolidated revenue last year, so they'll be okay. This particular event may be small, but from a strategic perspective, it is a lot more material. Exchanges have been investing more in indexing businesses and intellectual property as the popularity of passive investing has grown making indexing data more valuable. So you all remember months ago you were trading the Russell, you were probably with Daniel's Trading and or whoever you were with, and you didn't pay anything. Then all of a sudden, out of the blue, bang, you had to pay $115 a month to get the Russell data. So we stopped trading the Russell in the live trading room for that reason, because ICE, for a trader who is already consistently profitable in the markets, it's not a big deal to pay $100 for the data feed, because if you make 1 point on one contract in 1 month, it pays for itself. But for someone brand new, just learning how to trade, to lump yet another expense on them didn't seem right. So we pull the Russell from the live trading room. We'll see what the CME's plans are. Hopefully we get to put it back in. Now, I have kept it as part of the Concierge Trade Alerts, the 1 trade a days. I don't put it in daily double, but the other 2 I have kept it in there. LSE agreed to buy Russell Investments, the owner of the Russell 2000 stock market index, last year for $2.7 billion, and now has around $9.2 trillion of assets benchmarked against the performance of its indexes, which include the UK's FTSE 100. Derivatives based on the Russell 1000 indexes will be listed on CME in the 4th quarter and will trade on both CME and ICE until July 1, 2017, when they will only be traded on the CME. ICE will keep the exclusive U.S. rights to contracts based on the Russell 2000 up until June 30th, after which CME will have exclusive rights. CME will also list contracts based on the FTSE Emerging Market, FTSE Developed Europe, and the FTSE China 50 later this year. Ooh, the FTSE China 50. Wonder if they're going to have a futures contract. That would be nice. I would like to see that. Okay. Back to where we left off. The big mover of the day in the U.S. markets is the Russell, and it's down almost 1%. Okay. In the commodity basket, crude oil is up $1.28. That's pretty close to 3%. And a positive day for gold. We're up $10.60, trading $11.89. Okay. $1,189. That's almost 1%. Go gold. Okay, in the Asian markets, the Nikkei down 24 points, Shanghai up 15, Hang Seng up 107, and that's it for Asia. Shanghai and Hang Seng are just below 0.5%, and that's to the upside. Europe, oh, the color of Christmas. I guess Christmas is red and green. Oh well. Anyway, it's all red. The DAX is down 116 points. It's 1%. FTSE down 41. That's over 0.5%. And the CAC is down 40. That's almost 1%. Now, some are saying the rally's just starting, and others are saying that the Trump rally is over. What say we? Let's take a look. Oh, I'll tell you about this trade. Last night, I was a busy guy. I did this. Hang on. I produced a little video, and I informed those who follow us on Facebook and Twitter that the Concierge Trade Alerts would be out at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, and at 7 p.m. Eastern I would be posting a free trade over at emini.cfrn.net. And I did. I was a couple minutes late when somebody liked the fact that I was going to put up a free trade. It jogged my memory that I had to actually get over there and post it. It's one thing to say you're going to post it, and then another to actually post it. And so here was the deal. Consider being long above 46.30. Oh, that was an update that said it hadn't triggered yet. There it is. Consider being long above 46.30 or short below 44.95, whichever comes first. 44.95 is it's last week's, one of last week's weekly trading zones. 40 tick target either way, 20 tick stop loss. Always use a hard stop. Gives you a nice 1-to-2 ratio. Okay. If trading the 2420 blueprint, be sure to lock in your daily goal. See you at the bell. This trade is valid until triggered. Now, through the night, I might add that as of 33:34 a.m. For those who don't speak tired, that means 3:34 a.m. Eastern. The S&P 500 had hit its daily goal. The Dow had hit its daily goal. Crude had not only hit its goal, but it had produced $800 per contract. The NASDAQ had produced $340 per contract. Bonds, $187.50 per contract. Gold, $1,000 per contract. Now this is from the 6 p.m. open last night Eastern until 33:34 this morning. Soybeans, $800 per contract, and the Russell had only managed to scrape out $130. But hey, the Russell's coming home to the CME. What a sweet homecoming it will be. Okay, so now here's the deal. Mr. Trump is, oh, wait a minute. How did I miss this piece of news? Active shooter reported on her Ohio State campus. I stay so busy in the mornings, I don't have time to watch the regular news. Shelter-in-place advisory issued by Ohio State University on Monday morning after reports of an active shooter on campus was lifted at around 11:30 a.m. after the scene was secured by police. 8 people were transported to the area. Oh dear. I did something, you guys probably can't hear that horrific noise in the background. It's bad though, I gotta tell you. I gotta find it. Oh, I gotta just shut that down. I sent out a message friends of my and family members of my wife, friends and family, just to kind of remind them that today was her birthday. And now they're all trying to call me on the Facebook Messenger, which, well, we can't have that now, can we? Not in the middle of this radio show. Alright, hopefully it won't happen again. So I'll have to close that window. Alright. Back to the shooter. This is the first time reading of this. A shelter-in-place advisory was lifted around 11:30 a.m. after the scene was secured by police. 8 people were transported to area hospitals after the incident. At least 4 of the victims did not have life-threatening injuries. The extent of the other victims' injuries was unknown. It is unclear whether the suspect at the center of the active shooter warning, who was reportedly shot and killed by police, was armed with a gun. A Twitter user who appeared to be an OSU student wrote that a man had crashed his car through a group of students as they stood outside because of a fire alarm. The student initially tweeted that the man emerged from the car with a knife and a gun, but then said he hadn't actually seen a gun. He only heard gunshots. Other witnesses told local media outlets that the suspect attacked students with his car, and a law enforcement official later told NBC that some of the injured students had been attacked with a large knife. It's unclear whether there are multiple suspects. The Ohio State campus police initially urged students to run, hide, fight, which the Department of Homeland Security advises is the proper response sequence to an active shooter situation. Did you know that? Run, hide, fight. At the time, campus police specifically mentioned Watts Hall, the material science and engineering building on campus. Students were advised to shelter in place, hunker down, and avoid the area of the college. Campus police issued an update around 11:30, lifting the shelter in place. The university said that law enforcement will continue to have a visible presence on campus, that all academic classes on the Columbus campus have been canceled for the remainder of the day. Certain buildings on the campus will remain closed until further notice. Students and reporters were tweeting photos of the massive police response. Did they get the guy? Oh, it is unclear whether the suspect at the center of the active shooter warning, who was reportedly shot and killed by police, was armed with a gun. Okay, I guess we'll all learn more as the day unfolds. And what a tragedy. Keep those folks and their families in your prayers, and pray that, wow. Remember the song 4 Dead in Ohio? The old protest song in the 60s. 10 injured. There were no gunshot injuries. Apparently, this was with a knife. I'm seeing some stuff scroll by. Anyway, so keep those folks in your prayers, and whoever did it's a nut, but I just pray he's like a generic nut and not a terrorist nut. I hope he wasn't, running around screaming Allah Akbar or something. I mean, we don't need any more of this right now. Okay, back to the president. He is reportedly furious over comments that his former campaign manager Kellyanne Conway made about Mitt Romney, who is under consideration for the Secretary of State post in his cabinet. Conway suggested Sunday that Trump supporters felt betrayed by the consideration of Romney for the post. I think that's a fair statement. Perhaps given her status within the organization, it may not have been proper for her to voice it. Romney, the former governor of Massachusetts and 2012 Republican presidential nominee, had been one of the most vocal critics of Trump during the 2016 election. I mean, I agree with her. This guy called him a con man. He called him every... I don't know. If this is some kind of way of like showing, well, now look who's the boss. You can do that. I mean, it's pretty obvious who won. You don't have to... Anyway. Two high-level sources on Trump's transition team told MSNBC's Morning Joe that the president-elect was furious. Liberal media, MSNBC, that Conway went rogue at Trump's expense at the worst possible time. Aides are reportedly baffled by Conway's comments. Why? Why are they baffled? And concerned that instead of driving Trump's message, Conway is pushing her own agenda, according to the report, which was laid out on air by host of MSNBC's Morning Joe. One top aide described Conway's behavior as dangerous. Reince Priebus, the incoming chief of staff, is also reportedly frustrated with Conway. Conway responded to the MSNBC report by calling it sexist and saying she could have any job she wanted in a Trump administration. Conway continued her public attacks on Romney over the weekend, telling CNN on Sunday that while she hoped Romney would be a gracious Secretary of State if selected, his aggressive criticism of Trump during the primaries did not sit well with the president-elect's supporters. So, hey, she's standing up for her man, you know. It's just breathtaking in scope and intensity, the type of messages I have received from all over the country, Conway said. The number of people who feel betrayed to think that Governor Romney would get the most prominent cabinet post after he went so far out of his way to hurt Donald Trump. There was the Never Trump movement, and then there was Mitt Romney. She added, if President-elect Trump chooses Mitt Romney as his Secretary of State, or whomever he chooses, that will have the full support and backing of all of us. I respect the brilliance and judgment and sheer instincts of President-elect Trump to form his cabinet as he wishes, but I felt compelled to come forward on behalf of the people who were weighing in. Romney is reportedly Trump's top pick for Secretary of State, but the infighting over Romney's potential appointment has reached a boiling point inside Trump's camp. I mean, it's not like Trump couldn't have just picked up the phone and called her over the weekend and said, hey, knock it off. I think this is all part of some greater drama unfolding, and we may not know exactly what that is until some later date. Former Mayor Rudy Giuliani of New York is also under consideration, as are former CIA Director David Petraeus and Senator Bob Corker. Trump will meet with Petraeus in Trump Tower today. He'll meet with Corker and Romney again tomorrow, according to the transition team. Well, I mean, he's a boss. He gets to choose whoever he wants. But of all the people in the world to choose, Why in the world? Now, there is a theory about the fight over Mitt Romney, and I'm quoting here, like, this was written by Josh Barrow. Like everybody else, I don't fully understand what's going on with the very public fight among Donald Trump's associates about whom he should appoint to be Secretary of State. But I do have a theory that I don't think has been fully considered. In the case of Mitt Romney as a candidate for the post, Trump's incentives are not aligned with those of his entourage. They have good reason to oppose Romney even if Trump wants him, especially if Trump wants him. Remember the calculus for the C-listers who signed up with Trump early. They debased themselves by signing up with a candidate who was widely considered ridiculous and unacceptable by Republican insiders. In exchange, they would line up, in the unlikely event Trump won, for administration jobs for which they would otherwise be considered laughably unsuitable. This calculus seems to have worked out for Michael Flynn and perhaps Ben Carson, but a Romney appointment would be a severe threat to the dynamic the Trump team depends on. If a consummate party establishmentarian who did not support Trump, indeed one who said Trump was playing the American public for suckers, can be forgiven and given a top job, what role would be left for Rudy Giuliani or Mike Huckabee? Therefore, it is in the best interest of Trump insiders to reinforce Trump's instincts to prioritize loyalty over experience and also to discourage people outside Trump's circle from even seeking jobs in the administration. So maybe all the Romney bashing leaks really are freelancing by self-interested aides rather than a Trump-directed effort to humiliate a former rival. The latest skirmish happened this morning on the Morning Joe show. We already covered that. And Conway's main mistake may have been making the criticism too much about Trump, and rather than staying focused solely on Romney. It has always seemed strange that Trump, an egomaniac who is obsessed with being shown respect and loyalty, would consider appointing a man who called him a phony and a fraud, and who said his foreign policy ideas were very, very not smart. But there are some good reasons he might want to put Romney at the State Department. Choosing Romney would bring a potential rival inside the tent, rather than allowing him to critique the administration from the outside. Now, there's an old saying, keep your friends close, keep your enemies even closer. Demonstrate his dominance by showing that formerly recalcitrant party insiders accept his leadership and are willing to work under him. Please congressional Republicans whose agreement he will need on legislation. Provide managerial talent and policy expertise that will be badly needed in the administration. Importantly, while these factors could do a lot to help Trump, they could actually hurt the insiders who currently surround him. One of the warnings about a Romney pick, that Romney could lead a rogue agency that would be its own independent power center, makes some sense. I mean, he didn't run for Secretary of State, he ran for president. Okay? But whose power are those issuing the warnings worried about being diluted? Trump's or their own? To that extent, a Romney pick allows Trump to subordinate the Republican apparatus to himself and finally hire the A-list experts he always wanted to respect and submit to him, it would undermine those in Trump's world who hope to supplant the establishment. But it's not obvious why that should be Trump's own concern. So, there you go. And I would think by the end of this week, we're rolling up on December, and the inauguration is in January. Oh, I think I'm going to love reading this. The final nail in the coffin may be coming for the Federal Reserve. God, can we frame that and hang it on a wall somewhere? One of the central tenets of the Federal Reserve and most central banks throughout the developed world in the modern era has been their ability to stay above the political fray. With a few notable and fairly disastrous exceptions, the Fed, which I know I don't need to tell this radio audience this, but the Federal Reserve has absolutely nothing to do with the federal government. Just like Federal Express is a private company that ships packages, okay, the Federal Reserve is a private company that we pay to print money for us and loan it to us, and we pay them interest for it. You're sitting there going, that's insane. Nobody would ever do that. Well, just go ask Google. Get the history of the Federal Reserve. Read about, the creature from Jekyll Island. It's all there. It's all truth. There's not one bit of conspiracy theory involved. Okay? It's a fact known by, like I say, anyone who's been a member of this radio audience for any length of time over the past decade, because there's probably not a day I don't bring up the fact how much the Federal Reserve burns me, because they're part of the reason we're in this incredible debt situation. With a few notable and fairly disastrous exceptions, the Fed has acted without fear of political retribution from the executive branch, although the chair still has to testify to Congress and the president periodically. Now, Ben Bernanke has been the Fed for most of CFRN's existence, not all. And he named himself Helicopter Ben when he came in, stating that if need be, he would fly over America and throw out $100 bills, if that's what it took to get the economy going again. Well, I wish he'd have done that, because what he did do didn't work. You go, what do you mean it didn't work? Stock market's at all-time highs. Yeah, but you see, the people out there who are trying to save their homes, who are trying to get a loan, who are trying to start a small business so they could save their home, they weren't buying a lot of stocks, okay? Some of them were losing their jobs. They didn't have a 401k to pack it away. They were on unemployment, remember? Skyrocketing unemployment. But here the Fed's just cranking out the dollars, putting America in debt, and everybody up on Capitol Hill's got this big old smile. Ooh-wee, look at us. History's going to paint a very, very dark picture of what went on during the Obama and the Bernanke years. May look like we're riding high today, but now, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. The assumption of independence, however, has come under fire in recent months after President-elect Donald Trump floated the conspiracy theory that the Fed was intentionally manipulating interest rates to help President Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. A hostile congressional questioning of Chair Janet Yellen in September, and the possibility of Trump packing the Board of Governors with sympathetic members, it no longer is a given that the Fed will be able to maintain its freedom going forward. Now, let us not forget, as it's been discussed on this radio program, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, JFK, he had a similar idea. He said, Fed, that's bad medicine. We got good medicine. Treasury print notes, right? He no sooner printed them and he was killed in Dealey Plaza. And Lyndon Baines Johnson, what was his first act? One of his first acts, as he was quickly sworn into office, he revoked those bills. That too is a true story. In fact, Elga Barch, the chief European economist at Morgan Stanley, said in the bank's outlook for 2017 that one more financial cataclysm could be all that it takes for independence to end. Having been overburdened for a long time, many central banks might just be one more economic downturn or financial crisis away from a full-on political backlash. Such a political backlash could call into question one of the long-standing tenets of modern monetary policy making, central bank independence. Post-crisis central bank policies have left the financial system potentially vulnerable to a political backlash. A prolonged period of exceptionally low interest rates has weighed on financial intermediaries' business models. People trying to live off of their savings, good luck with that. Hence, financial stability issues ranging from a credit crunch to shortfalls in pension benefits or life insurance payments to a hard landing in risk asset markets, notably housing, could turn out to be the final nail in the coffin of central bank independence. Of note, Yellen has recently vigorously defended independence as a key part of the Fed's work. The two periods of excessive political pressure on the Fed since the end of World War II, immediately after the war and later in the period leading up to the stagflation of the 1970s, ended in negative economic outcomes. Additionally, how much central bank independence could change depends on the will of the people. Whether governments would be able to amend the institutional framework central banks operate under will largely depend on how voters would react to such a proposed change. You gotta be kidding me. If somebody would just stand up and tell the American people the truth, maybe the president, I think, along with, a little bit of restructuring of the bloated tax code that we live under, that thing could be reduced to one page. One. Pew Research's last annual look into Americans' opinions of the Fed found that 37% of Americans had an unfavorable view of the central bank, while 47% had a favorable opinion and 16% having no opinion. I bet how many of you have seen Water's World on the Bill O'Reilly show? Or I don't know, maybe he's got his own show, but he's on Bill O'Reilly a lot. He goes out in the street and he asks people's people questions, and he asked like off the wall stuff, like, you know, what do you think about North Korea finally, you know, getting the big bomb or whatever, and like, well, yeah, you know, the answers are outlandish. It's done to point out how out of touch so many Americans are with, you know, what's really going on. Some people just don't care. It's like, let me go to work, let me pay my bills, let me pay my taxes, let me put my feet up, watch a little TV at night, let me go to church on Sunday, and just leave me alone. I mean, it's an apathetic way of looking at things, but unfortunately, there's a lot of apathy in America, which is too bad. 16% had no opinion. I'd like to know if the question had been, what is the Federal Reserve? I'd like to know how many of those opinions, I'd like to know if they could have answered the question, what is the Federal Reserve? Yeah. Interestingly, opinions were also heavily partisan, with 48% of Republicans having a negative view, while only 28% of Democrats viewed the bank unfavorably. It's a criminal institution. It's a gang of criminals. It's the raping and pillage of America. It has been since its inception, and the one man that tried to do something about it got shot. So, will Trump be the next one to try? There is on Fox News a special. I've recorded it, I've not watched it yet. It's called The Killing of Kennedy, which is one of the books Bill O'Reilly wrote. He wrote Killing Kennedy, Killing Reagan, Killing the Rising Sun. My neighbor, I think, belongs to his book club or radio show, and so she's got every book that he publishes. So I think I'll borrow that one and just see exactly what it has to say about the opinions of how what he had done with the Federal Reserve may have impacted him getting bumped off. Okay. Richard said, yes, we can. Richard, I don't know what you, in the chat box, I don't know what you said yes, we can about, but I'm with you, brother. Yes, we can. All right. At this time in today's program, let us take a journey to a little place we like to call the good word for the day. And let me gather my notes and we'll pick up where we left off. Okay. Let's see how quickly I can. I should probably pull these notes together like before the show instead of during. Okay. Don't worry, I'm still here. I think the last thing we talked about was learning to encourage yourself. Being able to look yourself in the eye and, buck up. David strengthened himself in the Lord. 1 Samuel 30, verse 6. Now, no. Last thing we talked about was Jesus getting ticked off at that fig tree because it bore no fruit. Remember? He found nothing but leaves on it, cursed it. Now, when they say he cursed it, I don't think he used any gutter talk, but he said, "You'll never bear any more fruit again. You'll never again bear fruit." And guess what? It didn't. Give me 1 minute, please. I thank you. Some small yappers have no respect for the very important work that we do here each and every day. Okay. So, on a lighter note, getting away from Trump and his feud with Kellyanne, and gosh forbid Mitt Romney becomes the Secretary of State, let's talk about something completely different. And there's not a man in this audience who won't agree with me. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Philippians 2:4. Let each of you look out not only for his own interests, but also for the interest of others. When it comes to homemaking, generally speaking, women tend to care more than men about the house and everything that's in it. Now, I gotta admit, that's true in my home. My wife she never stops. There's always something else to be cleaned or changed or replaced or returned or fixed or, and I'm sitting there going, man, this place looks like a palace. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Look at the filth by the front. Just open the front door and I'm like, oh my goodness. But you see, that's a good thing. I've been married 36 years. And today my wife celebrates her birthday. We just celebrated our wedding anniversary on November 13th, and now today's her birthday. And it's not been a bed of roses. It's required work on both of our parts. Marriage expert Dr. James Dobson shares the following insightful story. A few years ago, my wife and I hired a plumber to install a gas barbecue unit in the backyard, and then we left for the day. When we returned, we both observed that the device was mounted about 8 inches too high. My wife Shirley and I stood looking at the appliance, and our reactions were quite different. I said, "Yeah, you're right. The plumber made a mistake. By the way, what are we having for dinner tonight?" But Shirley reacted characteristically. She said, "I don't think I can stand that thing sticking up in the air like that. I could have lived the rest of my life without thinking again about the height of the barbecue unit." But to Shirley, it was a big deal. Remember, it was only 8 inches too high. The difference is because to a man, a home is where he can relax, kick off his shoes, and be himself. But to a woman, especially to a homemaker, The house is an extension of her personality. She expresses her individuality and her character through it. That's why husbands would be wise to recognize this differing perspective and accommodate the creative interests of their wives. By the way, the plumber was summoned back to our house the next day and asked to fix his mistake. As the saying goes, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And that's our good word for the day. And with 2 children, one a teenager, 14. Don't know if you ever had a 14-year-old, but you know what I'm talking about. If you ever had a 9-year-old daughter, you know what I'm talking about. When I was a kid, when your parents told you to do something, there were no options, right? Maybe you would do it, maybe you wouldn't do it, maybe you'd do it when you got around to it, or, I mean, it was just very cut and dried. Take out the trash. You didn't say, okay, you got up and took out the trash. And then when you came back with the empty trash can, you said, is there anything else I can do? Now, what's really interesting, and I had a conversation with a woman in a store the other day, because I heard her and her mother talking about the little children running around. And she said, you know, I don't understand it. People tell me that I have the most well-mannered children that they have ever met. And I started laughing, because her kids were running around being a little rambunctious in the store there. And she turned and looked at me. I said, ma'am, I know what you're talking about. I said, at church, people constantly are telling us what wonderful children we have and how well-mannered they are and how polite they are. And I always go, no. Those 2 over there, those are my children. They're like, I know who your kids are. No, you got great kids. And we do have great kids, and I'm thankful for them. But if they would just do what we asked them to do, and when we asked them to do it, they'd be like, I don't know, perfect? I guess nobody's perfect. And maybe that's what we're looking for, is we're looking for perfection, and that's not realistic. And perhaps we're putting too much pressure on them. I don't know, but I know that their behavior, along with mine, I'm not escaping any of this, is quite often why mama ain't happy. And if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And men, you know I'm telling the truth. So you can hang your head in shame, or you can do something about it. Talk to your kids tonight. Get in a huddle, while mom's in the other room or something. Say, look, we gotta stop making her crazy. She's all we got, okay? Ain't nobody else gonna apply for this job. She's loved me and cared for me and took care, just all the stuff for 36 years. Now the kids, their experience with her is somewhat limited. Gabriel's about 10 years and Emily's about 5 years. But they're really the only mom. She's the only mom they remember. Because Gabriel came to live with us when he was 4 and Emily when she was about 5. But there was a period of years in between that. But so I want you to think about the why. Now, men, if your children are grown, don't think I'm not talking to you. I am. Whether you have children in the house or not, Go out of the way to make your wife's day. Every day. You'll find that the reward is greater than the task. Okay? A little something something goes a long, long way. You don't have to go all what was his name? I'll leave it to Cleaver, leave it to Beaver. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, what a lovely dress you have on today, Miss Cleaver. Oh God, what's his name? Oh, speaking of TV, old TV, the Partridge Family mom passed away on Friday. Now I can't remember her name. I did see an interview I heard an interview on the radio with her TV son, Greg, who's the oldest of the children. The daughter from the TV show, The Brady Bunch. There might be some of the audience who go, what show's he talking about? Oh, I said Partridge Family, didn't I? No. I'm sorry. Brady Bunch. Someday you'll be old. Now, so it was the Brady Bunch. Remember the little squares and all the faces filled in? Anyway, the oldest daughter, Maureen McCormick, is that her name? She just finished a stint on Dancing with the Stars, one of my wife's favorite shows, which not exactly crazy about it, but I sit and watch it with her because she enjoys it. I don't watch every episode, but that's why we've got like 14 episodes backed up on the video recorder. But every night, every now and then, I'll say, hey, let's watch, oh, okay. And so we do. It's an hour show, and you knock out the commercials, you're down to 40 minutes. A small price to pay, when you're doing something for someone that they really enjoy. And so Florence Henderson, she came on twice during the most recent season because her TV daughter from the Brady Bunch was on the show. So we're 14 episodes behind, and so we're almost up to another episode where she'll be coming on again. And also Ron Glass passed over the weekend. You'll remember him from Barney Miller. I couldn't picture him until my wife showed me a picture. He was the man of color in The Office. I thought it was Barney Miller that had passed away, but Ron Glass starred in over 50 different television shows. He had cameo appearances on everything from Sanford and Son to, man, the list just went on and on and on and on. I don't know if he had any starring roles in any other shows, but Barney Miller, that was great TV. I mean, I grew up in a small town in Georgia, and this is about a thing called Night Court in New York City. I'm like, in my small town thinking, my goodness, New York's so evil, they have to even have court at night. Well, there's probably night court in your town at this point in time, if you live in a city of any size. So, Eddie Haskell, thank you, David P. Brady Bunch and Florence Henderson, yes. Thank you, Richard. And yes, Mama loves the dogs. That's why you hear them bark sometimes. Okay, so that's our good word for the day. Mom ain't happy. Nobody's happy. So make her happy. And not to get all maudlin or morbid, but chance of you both leaving this earth at the same time, it's like a lottery shot. Probably isn't going to happen. Men tend to pass at a younger age than their wife. I happen to have a wife who's a few years older than I am. So, we don't talk about it, hardly ever. But we realize that, one of us will be left to clean up the mess. We don't know what that looks like. We all have that expiration date. Is it our 70s, our 80s, our 90s? We don't know. Her family, her grandmother lived forever. She hit 100 and something. Her mom and dad, they didn't fare so well. So she's got 8 siblings. They're all still cooking and cranking out children and grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren. And so, and my son, 14, you know where his head's at and his eyes. Every time we go to the mall, I say, "So, what are you looking at?" It's all embarrassed. His face turns red. "Oh, no, I'm not looking at anything, Dad. What do you mean?" It's okay, son. It's normal. Oh, he thinks he's well, let's just move on. Alright, so last night I sent out that free crude trade, triggered here. Now we put a 20 tick stop on the trade, so there was certainly no danger in the trade ever getting. However, see, 46.30 was the entry point. Now, you know what I've taught you about important prices, important areas are almost always tested. Yeah? 46.30. See my horizontal line? See how it lines up with 46.30? Okay, so you see the green, you see the yellow arrow pointing to where it triggered. Then price came back right here. Missed it by 1 tick. Then it came back here. Missed it by 2 ticks. And then it got down to business. And so you could have had your 40 tick target, which is $400. Okay? 40 ticks equals $400 per contract. Per contract available. We don't get out at the exact swing high or the exact swing low. However, when we have a target like this, we have a choice. We can get out at the target, or we can trail our stop. Now, here's the rub. Okay, when price hits the target and it starts to pull, like, almost back to the entry, we get very, very nervous. I mean, this is 2 points of the entry. But remember, we had already agreed to assume a 20 tick stop loss. Okay? Now, this is something that Mark Douglas teaches in Trading in the Zone. If you're a partner and you don't have your copy yet, get a hold of me so that I can make sure you get your copy. Support at CFRN.net. So the concept being here, all right, on this one, you triggered here, didn't have to travel too very far. You had just a little pullback, okay? What made it difficult is once you had your target was this pullback. Staying with the trade for it to get up here to $1,000. Now that's not so easily done, because you're sitting here, once it hits the target and pulls all the way back here, you're starting to talk, you're starting that self-talk thing. Oh, you knucklehead, how could you do that? You had a $400 day at 8 in the morning. Now you've given it all. Well, wait a minute. Hang on. Important prices, important areas are almost always tested. So the entry was 46.30. Okay. Important prices. Comes back for the test. This first run up from 46.30. That was 27 ticks right there. If you'd have took, if you caught, I did say, if you're trading the 2420 blueprint, it was in the post. If that's really your goal, is to make sure you get your points every day, lock those in. Okay, get that locked in, and then after you lock in 10, if it comes back and takes you out, which in this case it would have done, okay, it got up 27 ticks or $270, and then it came right back to the entry. So if you had blocked off your 10 ticks, you would have been left with your 10 ticks. Okay, that would have been your goal for the day. Now, what about taking this, or what about taking this? Again, it depends upon where you're at with your trading. Are you still learning how to trade? Okay. It's not so much about what you know, but what don't you know yet. Now, with a little trend line here and a close above the trend line, and but again, if you're trading the blueprint, your primary goal. But right here, one tick shy of $1,000 per contract available. That's if you trailed your stop all the way up through that. Now, see, that takes a special skill set, not a special technical skill set, but a strong stomach. Okay, you've assumed the risk. Are you going to maintain that risk? Because the market's probably going to test your mettle. It's probably not just going to, throw $1,000 trade in your lap and go, here, have fun. Okay, it's going to do this, and it's going to do this, and it's going to come back here, really freak you out. Oh man, I'm about to go negative, and then it takes off. And in not, from 8:31 to 9:12, 45 minutes, basically. Even if we go from here, 8:22 to 9:12, call it 50 minutes, whatever the case might be. It's now since gone on to do more than $1,000 per contract. Okay. All right. So that's that trade. To all of you that were able to take advantage of it, that bell's for you. And I did a video and I sent out a tweet that said I would be posting it at 7 p.m. Now, I posted it at 7 p.m. last night, or 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Didn't trigger until this morning. Now, what is interesting is, and always pay attention to this, okay, how I word the trade. Last night, trade issued said consider being long above 46.30. Unlike the daily double where it says buy whatever number it is, these free trades and the Concierge Trade Alerts are worded a little differently. The one trade a day is worded a little differently. Consider being long above 46.30. That means your trigger is going to be one tick higher or one tick lower if it's short. And so, guys, I'm going to put you on hold 1 second. I apologize. Hello? What's up? Okay, I'm going to probably tie it up about 45 minutes. You think it'll take at least that long? Okay, good. All right, perfect. Okay. Okay. All right, my apology. Okay, so anyway, I want to show you on the chart what that looked like. Swing high. Oh, must have been way over here. Yep, right here. Watch. Swing high 46.30. Okay. This is, remember, this is after the trade went out. Swing high 46.30. But we don't need 30 to trigger in. We need 46.31. Okay. Now this is what I wrote in reference to that. Swing high was 46.30. Our trigger was 46.31. Some people trade with a machete. Some use a scalpel. All right. You've seen it over and over how these numbers tend to play out. You know, when we've got a trade that says be long above or short below, how many times have we seen that thing come down and touch it, touch it, touch it, touch it, and sometimes never break it. Sometimes actually turn and run the other way. Happens, okay? So just pay attention to how the trade's worded. One traded days are a direct buy price, okay? Buy or sell this price. This price is your stop loss. This price is your target. Sometimes there will be as many as 3 targets, okay? A pretty tame target, a medium-sized target, and then a runner kind of a target. Other days, it'll just simply be enter at this price, put your stop loss at this price, and your target is this price. Now, those daily doubles, they come to your phone wherever you are, to your smartphone or your tablet or your desktop if you're working out of your office, okay? The reason we did that in the manner that we did it was because many people had asked us, hey, you guys issue these trades during the daytime, but I'm out, you know, on a roof fixing somebody's air conditioner. Isn't there some way I could take part of that? So I went to great lengths to figure out a way that we're able to do that, because once the trade comes in, then you simply have to log into your broker's mobile app on your phone and enter the trade with the entry and the stop loss and the target. Now, you may want to have 3 targets, or you may just want to go with the 1 target, or you may just, maybe you want to say, I'm just going to go with the middle target. It depends upon, you know, what you're all about and how you handle your portfolio and what your risk profile is like. But every trade always has a hard stop, okay? So when that daily double comes out, it'll make a noise on your phone, putting up on your phone. The official sound is the sound of a telegram. But you can make it sound any way you want. You just got to go in and play with the settings, okay? So the app is free. You simply go to cfrn.net/emini-daily-double. And I usually get those out sometime between 10:30 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern, because I want you to have them, because at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, that's when we end the live trading room. It's also when the London markets close for the day, and we tend to see a little burst of energy because the London traders are closing out their positions for the day or setting up their overnight positions if they, you know, have them. And that 30-minute period of time between when we close the live trading room and when the radio show starts at noon is often a very, very good time to take advantage of the market because there's activity. Okay. We've talked about the crude trade. We talked about how the concierge trades looked overnight. Now it would be the appropriate time. No comment about Eddie Munster. You keep talking about this thing called Trump. It's like, what, some kind of musical instrument? This guy stops by every day. It's like in his diary. Go to CFRN, make a wisecrack, let them know you're not happy with them and the things that they do, and then leave. Because by the time I ever notice what he says, he's come and gone. So, I don't know, did Eddie Munster pass away? I didn't mean to slide him, if he did. Eddie Munster. I'm guessing the guy had a real name. Eddie Munster's Haunted Mansion. November 2nd of this year. Let's see what happened. As Eddie Munster, Butch Patrick, that's his name. That show was only on for 2 years. Wow. Star Trek was only on for 2 years. Between 1964 and 1966, Butch Patrick was part of one of television's funniest and spookiest families, the Munsters. As Eddie Munster, Patrick was a young werewolf who led an otherwise ordinary life with his family of monster misfits in a haunted mansion at 1313 Mockingbird Lane. Who could forget that? As a first-time newly married adult, the 63-year-old actor married Leela Murray on September 10th. Wow. He stayed single all his life. Patrick recently moved into an 1875 Queen Anne Victorian mansion in Macon, Missouri, previously owned by his late grandmother. She was a big antique dealer. I lived with her until I was called away to do the Munsters. During the 2-year window when I was in the show, she moved to Missouri, and I went to stay with her after the show ended. I grew to love the home and the town. 4 years ago, Patrick received a call from a friend telling him the home was about to be foreclosed upon and was going to be demolished. I called a realtor and started making arrangements to save the house. After closing on the home 1 year ago, Patrick moved in this past March, only to discover he wasn't living alone. My sister told me, "I can't believe you're going to live in Grandma's house. Don't you realize it's haunted?" Patrick's sister told him the house is inhabited by a ghost named Miss Ruby, who makes frequent appearances by the home's grand staircase. After conducting research on the show and calling in a team of paranormal experts, Patrick learned that the home is not only haunted, but extremely haunted. This is a recent news article. They told me that the home was built on a vortex that turned the house into a kind of grand central station of ghost travel on our property. While Patrick has yet to actually see a ghost, his wife has experienced many encounters in her short time there. Some people are very in tune with this sort of thing and some aren't, Patrick explains. I am apparently not one of those people, but Layla is. For the first 3 nights she came to visit, we made it until 9 p.m. before she would say, "That's it, we're going to a hotel." Patrick claims his wife captured video footage of a ghost near the front door of her home just last week. A head appeared in the doorway, and you can see it in the video, he told me. It's illuminated and pulsating, and then it sticks out before it just disappears. When we blew up the image, you can see a scary face. There's no doubt about it. It's there. At first, she was really freaked out, but now she jokes that the ghosts are afraid of her, he said with a laugh. She has taken photos that reveal faces in the walls and in the floors. You can see outlines of people standing on the landing of the stairway. The people who lived in the home before helped me clean it out. When we were doing that, we kept hearing girls' voices giggling, and there were really strange smells. Prior to his current specter-filled existence, Patrick had been in negotiations to host a new reality series. A friend introduced me to Kevin Harrington of Shark Tank, who had just signed a deal with a production company in California. I had an idea for a show about moving back to the Midwest from Hollywood. It was going to be an Eddie Munster meets Andy of Mayberry in the Twilight Zone sort of thing. Right up my alley. Now the focus of the new series has shifted to reflect Patrick's current haunted home life. The show will be called Property Horrors. We'll showcase other homes that are haunted and help the people who live there. We'll have teams of paranormal experts come on, find out what's there, and try to make the people a little more ghost-friendly. Management of CFRN does not endorse ghost hunting. Patrick says he's hoping the new series will land on Sci-Fi or the History Channel. Will be in production by the end of this year and hopefully airing the first episode in the spring. Patrick told me that during his Munster years, his best friend among the cast was Al Lewis, who played Grandpa, a vampire character who had the ability to turn into a bat. He jokes that Lewis, who passed away in 2006, recently paid a visit to his haunted house in Macon. We had a bat living with us for quite a while, until the new roof was put on the house, he says. He seemed to only show up when Layla was around, which is why I called him Grandpa. He was always chasing the ladies on the Munsters TV show. Oh, well, thank you, Jim, for sharing. I don't even know if you knew you were sharing something with us, but this was published. This is what he looks like today. Inquiring minds want to know. That is 63-year-old Eddie Munster, a.k.a. Butch Patrick, and his wife, Layla, in a photo he posted on Twitter. She appears to be she may be a few years younger than him, but good for Eddie. Good for Eddie. It never really talked about what he's done, and I wonder if he lived his whole life off of the what do you call it, the royalties of that TV show. Can't imagine it would be that much, considering it was only on for 2 years. But I mean, if you don't live a flashy lifestyle, you don't need a lot. Okay, let's get down to business. Let's talk turkey. I've been waiting all weekend to say that. All right, let's go to the S&P 500 Emini Futures. These are last week's zones. Okay. Last week. Let me make sure. I'm going to tell you they are. Better make sure they are. 2212/13. Oh, yes. This was last week's highest weekly trading zone. That's worth making a note. Last week's highest weekly trading zone. Huh. Love it when that happens. Now, we did miss it by a skosh. Swing high here was 2211.75. Okay, so we missed it by a tick. But from here to here, from 02 to 12, that's 10 S&P points. Okay, $500 per contract. And then, as it made its way back down, that would be another $500 per contract. Tried to reach up, sold off, tried to reach up. Now, let's get in here and find last night's open. It's going to be right there. Sunday night, Globex open. Now, if you're on the Concierge Trade Alert list, you got an email, and if you're not, I can't imagine why not, but you know, people got their reasons. Consider selling 2204. Okay, 2204. I suspect that's about right here. 2204. Sell 2204. Okay. Now, down to the zone, last week's zone. Because I can't talk about this week's zones until later in the week, because that's something that's privy to the partners. Swing low was 2199.50. So that would be 4.5 points. That's what the market made available. 4.5 points available. Okay. And then drag this over. Because, why? Important prices and important areas are almost always tested. So, we had a 4.5 point run, and then this is something that, you know, could have stopped you out. Then we had a, looks like a 2.5. Oh, what's the low? Low's 2201.75. So that's 2.25 points. Okay, and on the long side, we were to consider buying 2209. Yeah, I'm gonna guess that happened right there. Which means if you took that trade, you got stopped out. She had a shot at 4.5, and then a potential based on your stop placement. See, this closed here and then dropped. When it rallied up, I don't know. So based on your stop placement, there was a potential to be stopped out here or here, okay, and an opportunity to pick up 4.5 is what was available, and 2.25 is what was available. Sorry, hang on just a second. Now, I may have to take a break here in just a minute, and it's actually going to be about a 5-minute break. So I do apologize. I'll try to pick up the pace, get cooking here. Just stand by, please, for a moment. Let me get this done. Okay. Alright, so we're going to fly through the rest of these babies. The Dow. Okay. What time did the alerts go out last night? They went out at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, so that's 18:30 on the 27th. 18:30. Right there. Right there. Okay. All right. And the word was to sell 19,090. Looks like we had several opportunities to do that. So 19,090. All right, the very first move to the downside, if you're a trader of the Dow, took us to 190.70. That's exactly what you need if if you're trading the 2420 blueprint. 20 points available per contract. Okay. Now, this one took us down to 1950, 19050, so that was 40 points available. You guys watch Jay Leno's Garage? That's pretty good. I wish they didn't show the same show. I guess they only got so much inventory, and so they do what they got to do. And then important prices, important areas, gotta get tested. This time we dropped to 76. So from 90 to 76, yeah, that's 14. And then price gets above and drop we do again. And this takes us down to 60, so that's 30 points. This next one's kind of interesting, okay, because this candle closed. It came all the way down 30 points, but then it closed here, opened here, but I guess it went this way, then it went this way, and then it closed here. And then it jumped over, and I'm guessing it ran up here, got above the trigger, came back down to close here. Swing low was 42. So if it was 40, it would be 50. But since it was 42, it would be 48. Okay. Okay, now at about 7 p.m. Eastern tonight, I will be sending out the Concierge Trade Alerts again, as I've been doing now every night for years. You are welcome to take a free trial. You go to emini.cfrn.net, and you'll see at the top of the page a baseball player. You got to click on the 3 little dots, and the post will open, and it tells you about each one of our offerings. The best bet, you know, honestly, it's not the one we make the most money on, but the best bet for you is the mentoring program where you actually learn how to trade. Okay? Now, there's nothing wrong with having access to the Concierge Trade Alerts, daily double, 1 trade a day, because, I mean, well, I'm kind of showing you why, so I figure you get it. Get it? Prices are affordable, and the trial, with the exception of the Concierge Trade Alert, I think that would cost you $1. Okay, long story why it costs you $1, but it costs you $1. The others are free. The other free trials are free, and you can go to the page. You'll see. Okay. All right. The last one here dropped to 74. So 90 to 80 would be 10. So that's 16. Important prices. Important areas. Almost always tested. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Huh. Okay. Buy side of this was way up here at 191.35, so that never got triggered. Okay, let's jump over to the bonds. I don't know why we're on at ZB, so I'm just going to change it back to, oh, I guess I was trying to show you something the other day. ZBZ. Okay. It looks about the same. Alright, I'm going to guess, yep, that was the Globex Open last night. This is last week's zone. Let me just get rid of it. The alerts went out at 18:30. Oh, you missed. Okay. All right, on bonds, we were looking to ZBZ6. Now remember, we're going to roll bonds and gold. If I don't do it tonight, I'll do it tomorrow. And if I do it tonight, I will put a notation along with the symbol letting you know that the numbers that you're given reflect the roll forward. Okay? By 153.23. 153.23. Yeah, that was a sticky wicket there. 153.23. The swing high is 26 there. Although, yeah, well, let me just draw the line. 153.23. Okay, depending upon your stop placement. Okay, this first one, there's no way you would have taken the first one. Okay, too much risk involved. This you might have got involved in, and you had a nice shot at 153.29. Okay, so that's 6 ticks. 6 ticks available at 31.25 per tick. Okay. On the sell side of bonds, nope, no trigger there. Okay, time to move on. NQ, and there's the gap lower open. Now we need to find 18.30 right there. Oh, that's pretty slick. It's the candle next to the arrow. Figure that out all by myself. Buy 48.65. 48.65. Oh, sometimes it just hurts so bad. Okay. So buy 48.65. Okay, buy 48.65. This, you know, it ran up to 67. You know, let's just call it a stop out. If you took it, you got stopped out. All right. Now this time around, a little different story. We ran up to 48.79. So that would be 14 points. 14 points available times $20 per point. You know, one of the good shows they took off TV, Mud Lick Towing. That was one of the craziest reality shows ever. And it was about a real business and a real husband and wife who really fought all the time. And their specialty was repo. They were repo men. Yep. They'd go out in the dead of night, and if you hadn't made your payment on that new Thunderbird, because they were way out in the country, where people, you know, buy Camaros and Thunderbirds. That was the it car when I was a kid in high school. If your parents had bucks, they didn't buy you a Vet. They bought you a Thunderbird with that big logo on the hood. Oh yeah, you automatically had a date to the prom. You didn't even have to ask. You just picked. All right, 14 times 20. That would be $280 per contract available. All right, back roll the trigger. Off we go again. 48.65 up to 48.75 would be 10. So it's 13. 13 points available. KM Firebird question mark? Yeah, KM. That's back in the 70s. It was Allen. That was where I wrote the highest weekly zone a minute ago. That was last week's highest weekly zone. Oh, your question is this week's highest zone a lot higher? Well, hold on and I'll check for you. Yeah, KM, it was built by Pontiac, and it was like considered a muscle car, I guess. And it was the bomb of the day. Oh, I said Thunderbird? I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Yes. Although Thunderbirds were really cool, especially those little convertibles. But I was referring to the Firebird. I was. That's when we were listening to Eddie Van Halen and, oh gosh, the songs Stairway to Heaven. Many a night. I didn't have one myself. I was a poor working stiff. I worked 40 hours a week in high school, and I didn't have parents to buy me a car. I bought my own car, and they wouldn't even let me park in the same parking lot with their cars. But that's okay. They got me back and forth to work and to school, and I was very thankful for that. But yep, if you were a BMOC, that's a big man on campus. You had a Firebird. All right, moving on. Some of the guys had trucks, souped up, jacked up, and one of my friends, he had like a Dodge Duster or something. I don't know. It was jacked up in the back, Out here in Phoenix, they jack them up in the front and they make them bounce. But back home, we jacked them up and they put little skinny tires on them out here. Back home, when I was a kid, we jacked them up in the back and they would put big fat tires on them. Anyway, just another page from the life of Dwayne. Coming soon to a really big screen near you. Alright. Let's drop a line at 18:30 last night. Oh, that's right. Soybeans don't open until 2000. So I sent the alerts out before the soybean market opened. How can he do that? Well, it's called math. I just did the math. ZSF7 by 1049. 1049. $10.49. Okay. Wow, so you could have been done really early last night if you were trading beans. If you had your buy order sitting there, raring to go, so that you got filled on a stop as it came up through it, put in a swing high at 1065. So that's 15, that's 16 points. Woohoo! This is a nice one. 16 points available per contract at $50 per point. What a great way to start the week. Okay. And then important prices, important areas. Almost always tested. 1049. So we get a dip below 49 and up we go to 1060. So that's 11 points. 11 points available. We never get out at the exact swing high or the exact swing low because we trail our stop. 1059. 1059 and a half. So that's 10.5. 10.5 points available per contract. You know, price of beans is creeping up there. There's something called beans in the teens. We haven't seen it in a while, but I don't know. Could be headed in that direction. So what a wonderful way to start the week. I can't seem to find my calculator. Okay, come to me. Calculator. I haven't used my phone because my actual real life functioning calculator has vamoosed. Okay, here we go. Alright. So 16 times 50. I could have done that in my head. Sure you say. Of course you could. $800. $800 per contract available. Yeah. Like I say, we don't get out at the swing high or the swing low because we trail our stop. So we always leave something on the table. just the way life is down on the CFRN farm. Okay. Looks like there's gold 1830. Right there. Okay. And if you were on my list, naughty or nice, you still got this trade in your inbox by 1187, which is right here ish. By 1187. So do you guys watch that $1 Million Real Estate show? Where those young punks sell milk? Makes, when I was their age, I had a real estate license. I took the test, went to all the went to all the classes, like 40 hours of classes, and my wife and I did it together. And then we got our notice in the mail to go take our test at Grady Gamage at ASU. So we went on a Saturday morning, took our test, nervously awaited in the mail for the results to come, and passed first go around. It says now you need to come down somewhere, I don't know, City Hall, someplace, Department of Realtors, whatever, and actually get your certificate that says you passed. Okay, this goes from 87 to 97. See that? Actually goes to 97.2. But from 87 to 97, that's $10. At $100 a point, that's $1,000 per contract. $1,000 per contract available. That's what the market made available. Made it available there, and then it made it available again over here. Price gets below the trigger, off we go again. This time we get a swing high. Guess we're still climbing, kinda. 1192, 87 to 92. So that's $500 per contract available so far. $500 per contract available. And again, it could continue higher. I wouldn't leap on it right now because it's long left the station. Now, you could have had 500 or you could have had 450 right here before this pullback. But if you brave the pullback, then you got a little more. Okay, we're almost done. Russell. Russell's coming home. I'm excited about that. Doesn't take much for me. Pretty easy to please, I must say. I learned that from my grandmother. Okay, RLM7, sell 1341. Okie doke. Okay, you got your finger burned over here. Oh, not really. And then your payday came. Over here. So sell 241. Okay. Swing low was 39.20. So if it had been 39, it would be $200. So that would be 100. Oh, it's $100 per point. Yeah. So the low was at $180 per contract available. $180 per contract available. Okay. And then from 1341 we took a dive down to 1331.1. One tick shy of $1,000. One tick shy of $1,000 per contract available. Doesn't matter, we wouldn't have got the 1,000 anyway. Why? Because our trailer stopped. And when it came back up, it would take us out. So, but that's what was available. One tick shy. Okay? Now, just as I sent it to hundreds and hundreds of other people via email last night, all of these trades that we've gone through, I mean, it's been one sweet trade after another. You could have had your hands on it too. Let's see. I don't have this set up on a 30-minute. I don't know why that is. Gosh, I might need that later. Let me go back. Let me see if it'll give me a new tab. It might not. I might be out. Might be out of tabs. GCLF7, okay. Can I get an okay? How about a pretty please? Oh, Alan, I haven't forgotten your question. I just acted like I had, which, quite frankly, I had. So, hang on, and I'm going to tell you. Okay, so here's 30 minutes on the crude. Now, I think the question was, last week's highest weekly trading zone was 2212/13. This week on the S&P, you know what? Just because I can, I'm going to tell you the highest weekly trading zone this week for the S&P is 2234/2235. Okay? Now, you have to wait till Thursday for the rest of them, everybody, because those are, that's something we give the partners every Monday morning. It's kind of a gift. It's, thanks for being a part of the crew, and this kind of helps you to paint your gridiron, put your lines on the field, so you have an idea of where the market is going to play during the week. So we do not expect the market to close higher this Friday than 2235. The actual zone is 2234/2235. And as you'll recall, Seeking Alpha published my call for the end of the year, which was 2300. Considering we're still in November and we're sitting at 2205, I think I got a pretty good shot of making it. But you never know. You just never know. So, did you get that down? Okay. All right. So let me make sure I got the time set properly. Oh, I know I do. Because, oh, see, that should say 1800. Okay, so I don't, because it's a new tab. Okay, so I got to go like this. I got to change this to UTC 5. Because Phoenix doesn't do, Arizona doesn't do daylight savings time. So now we can see that the open is as it should be, 1800 or 6 p.m. Eastern. And the alerts went out at 8:30. Okay. All right. GCLF by 45.50. By 45.50. What a beautiful trade indeed, if I may say so myself. I don't take credit for it. I mean, yeah, I type it in, but you know what I'm saying. The market does it. I don't. I'm just the middleman. Okay, buy. $45.50. So on the first run up, we'll get to 46.30. So that's $800 per contract. $800 per contract available. Okay. And then price got back below the trigger. Up we go again. This time we get to 46.28. So that's that's $780 per contract. $780 per contract available. Now, I will point out that if you had held through this swing, and some of you are thinking, well, of course I did, and others are thinking, what nut would do that when they had $780 on the board and this thing prints a red candle? I don't need a haircut. Take me out. Well, different people approach the market different ways. If you happened to have hung on to it, I'll need me calculator for that one. Okay, so 47.65 minus 45.50 equals $2,150. $50 per contract available. Now that's per contract. You see how this whole thing can get a little bit addicting when you build your account size and maybe you can trade 2, 3, 5 contracts at a time? Yeah, you're going to take some hits. You're going to get stomped out. You're going to wish you hadn't taken that trade. And then along comes something like that. And you pick up 20 grand for the day. I mean, please hear me well. Trading is not easy. It can be simple, but it is not easy. It is risky. You can lose all of your money and then some. You should always consult with a licensed investment professional before making any investment or trading decision. I only know of two professionals that I can recommend you speak with. That's Bert and Leslie. Toll free 866-928-3310. You heard Leslie on the show last week talking about gold. Now, here's the deal. Some people want a discount broker, okay? There's an old saying, you get what you pay for. That's not always true. Sometimes you pay a lot of money and you don't get much for it. Some of you have paid that one company 10 grand for their software that was going to make you a cajillionaire overnight, and it didn't happen. How do I know it didn't happen? Because you came here and learned our method, and now finally you're consistently profitable in the market. That's how I know, because you tell me. So I've lost touch with all other brokers that I've had throughout the years. A broker is a licensed investment professional. Okay? I recommend Bert and Leslie, not because I'm paid to, but because I trust them. They are good people. If I place a trade, I have to put a commission in someone's pocket, unless I want to go out and get a broker's license myself. That's the last thing in the world I want to do. Okay? And so I would rather know that I'm let's say I'm trading. Let's say I'm trading 20 contracts. All right? And I get my 2 points a day every day. How much money is that? It's 10 grand. If you're trading 10 contracts, you get your 2 points a day. That's 5 grand a week gross. If you're trading 20 contracts, okay, and get your 2 points every day, how much? 10 grand. Okay. Now, let's say it actually took you your 10 trades every single day. Every single day. That burns, don't it? So you got to pay a lot of commissions that week. See, that's a gross figure before commissions. All right. So if you're trading the S&P 500 as an example, where the round trip cost to trade one contract is $5.80. If it took you 10 trades a day to make 8 ticks gross, you with me? You're going to net before your taxes and everything 9 grand and change. The brokerage firm, not the broker, but the brokerage firm, their cut that week's going to be a little over 10 grand. And some people, they pull their hair out and they go, oh my God, I'm not going to let them make all that money off my back. Well, the broker, the brokerage firm gets paid, and the broker is at the end of the line, the last person to get paid. And so if you think, it's kind of like people think all doctors are rich. Well, not every doctor is a plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills, okay? Average income of a doctor in America is less than $250,000 a year. It's closer to $200,000 a year. I don't know what the average broker makes. Not my business anyway. But you're going to pay somebody. So I like the idea of paying someone who I know actually cares about what happens to me and my life and my business, my kids. That matters to me. On a week where it took me that many trades, to make my goal, and I got to pay 10 grand in commissions, okay? Whatever sliver percentage the actual broker gets out of that 10 grand, okay? I know that it's going to go towards their kids. In one of them's case, the kid's college educational fund. In the other, I'm not sure. Again, it's not my business. But I know that I'm putting that commission, that money, I got to put it in somebody's pocket. Let me put it in somebody's pocket that I care about, because I know they care about me. And even more importantly, I know they care about you. 866-928-3310. Now remember, if you are on the trial, do not wait till the end of the week to go, hey man, I never downloaded the platform, okay? Because that dog won't hunt. You need to get the platform downloaded today. If you're on the trial, you go to cfrn.net/trial. And the instructions are there. You click if you want this platform like I'm using, like Michael uses, that's the Daniels Trading platform. And so you click that big logo there at cfrn.net/trial. It'll take you to a page over at Daniels Trading. You'll fill it out. You'll download the platform. And once you get everything popping, you'll call that toll-free number, 866-928-3310. And either Bert or Leslie will be more than happy to help you get your indicators up and indicating, so that tomorrow morning in the live trading room you'll be able to follow along and be fully cognizant of what's happening now. Okay? If, on the other hand, you have chosen to go with NinjaTrader, or you already own NinjaTrader, then all that's required to get the indicators up and running for you is for you to email us your machine ID. Now, you've got to be on the free trial. You've got to actually be on the trial, and we will turn your indicators on, just like that, for a week for the trial. And then they will automatically go off after the trial, unless you decide that, that you think this really is what you've been looking for, and you decide to become a partner. And at that point, once you become a partner, you own the indicator set, whether you go with the Daniels Trading platform or whether you go with the Ninja platform. You own the indicator set for life. Okay? That includes any upgrades, updates, anything that we do with that indicator set from now till the end of time. You own it, and you're entitled to all updates, etc. Okay? Alright. I gotta go. It's been a pleasure. Got through all the markets. ES, we had a great day. Dow, great day. Bonds, not a bad day. NQ, great day. Soybeans, killer day. Gold, double killer day. Russell, killer day. I guess that's everything. Oh, crude oil. Double, triple header. Depends on how you played it. So, a reminder tonight, this night, 28th day of November 2016, the birthday of my wife. If you were to send her a happy birthday, that would freak her out, because she doesn't know a lot of people, you know, out in the world. She's not a man, she's not a worldly type like I am. Twitter.com/. If you sent a birthday wish to her, she would really be touched. She's very sentimental about birthdays, because she grew up in a large family with 9 kids total, including her. And so sometimes, you know, when you're in a big family, sometimes you feel left out, you know. With the other kids, they get the new stuff, you get the hand-me-downs, blah blah. I know, I'm sure you've heard that story or lived that story. But anyway, she's a wonderful lady. She has kept me alive for the last 36 years. And as a man of a certain age, I've been with her longer than I've been without her, if you know what I mean. She is the narrative of my life. Like I said at the beginning of the show, Mama ain't happy, nobody's happy, and it's not all been a bed of roses, but I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. You know, and I know something will happen now between now and the time we put our head on the pillow tonight, but God willing, we'll both say, honey, I'm sorry, and then the other one will say, honey, I'm sorry, and we'll both actually mean it, and the sun will not go down on our anger. That's in the book. Okay, once again, I want to wish you the very best. I want to thank you for tuning in today to this radio show. If you want to take a trial in the live trading room, how simple is that? Oh man. Apply.cfrn.net. Now, this fancy page, you could never remember that. I mean, you can try to fool yourself if you want. But here's what you can remember. Emini. That's what we do. Dot, because that's the law. CFRN, who we are. Dot. Net, because it sounds cooler than com. We own them both, but enter. Here comes that crazy looking Earl again. Earl as in Universal Resource Locator. Remember that TV show about the guy named Earl? Oh, that was funny. Anyway, when you get here, bang. Here's how you take the Concierge Trade Alert trial, Daily Double trial, Live Trading Room trial, 1 trade a day. Now, you can only take 1 trial of each every 6 months. And there's a lifetime limit of 2. We've been around so long, and so many of you have been following us for so many years that I had to institute a new rule over the weekend. Lifetime limit of 2 trials of any one item. Okay? I think that's fair. Don't you? Okay. Gotta go make happy birthday stuff for my wife. I gotta tell her all the things I told you. And make it sound like it was the first time I said it. So, thanks for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.
This podcast is sponsored by Trading Post. For a limited time only, try Trading Post online trading rooms for free. Visit tradingpostfinancial.com/store for more details.
Hello and welcome to the Mind of a Trader. This is Steve Croft. Jack Canfield, a great speaker and author, once quoted, "Most fears cannot withstand the test of careful scrutiny and analysis, because when we expose our fears to the light of thoughtful examination, they usually just evaporate." Think about that. How many times have we approached something or are in the middle of something and we feel as though it might be caving in? We get frightened. We're not sure if we're going to make it. Do we run away? Do we retreat? Do we just quit? What is our stepping stone process that we go through that allows us to keep going? Or do we get off the stepping stone and walk away? Or do we not even put our first foot on the first stone? You know, for us to truly lead ourselves through this process, we have to take all the possibilities that can come in front of us. You know, it reminds me once of a gentleman on a motorcycle pulls into this town and he stops next to a gentleman on the sidewalk and he says, "Hey, have you by some chance seen about 20 motorcycle riders come through this town?" And the man said, "Sure." He says, "They went about 3 blocks down there, and when you see that cafe there at the end, they turn left that way." He says, "Okay, so they went down 3 blocks and they turned left the cafe." He says, "Yes, great, because I got to catch up to them. I'm the leader." Do we sometimes just not even know what our role is in the process or the programs or the situations that we're in? Well, if we're going to be a trader, whatever market we're working in, we have to not only be the leader, but we have to lead. Just because we have the name Trader, trader, are we living it? Or do we have fears in front of us that are stopping us from doing what we are capable of doing? Sometimes it comes down to perception. Sometimes it comes down to all the little voices around us. Sometimes it comes to the panic that's happening around the world. Sometimes it just comes down to basic excuses. And ladies and gentlemen, excuses can cause a small challenge in front of us to grow into a disastrous situation that can just kind of pull us into the black hole and suck us right down to the center of the earth, and we melt into that molten lava that's down there. We have to start looking at things a different way as the world changes, as our skills change, as everything around us continues to evolve. We have to be the person that is leading ourselves. Let's get down to a factual aspect. We are not in control of what happens to the economies around the world. We are not in control of what's going to go on in this bank or this insurance company or this stock market or that stock market. We're not in control of where the interest rates are going to be. We're not in control of what they say on TV or what they print in the newspapers or what you hear on the radio. We are not in control of that, but we are in control of how we handle decisions that have a direct impact on our personal finances, our personal trading, our personal investments, and things of that nature in light of these possibilities that are around us. And as traders, how we choose to take advantage of all of these tremendous situations around us, including the one that is causing us to just well up with fear, is so important. But see, not just that one, all of them, all of them. We need to grasp onto the understanding that where the volatility is happening or the price action or whatever phrase you want to use, it's just a reflection of what is perceived to be in the world, not what is. See, we know that if we take a position and employ all the money management that we've studied, all of the steps in our risk management, and we use our discipline of our self-emotions, and we use a proven trading strategy, if we put all those things into place and we still happen to be wrong in one of the positions that we have executed, we're only going to get pinched. We're not going to be punched out because we followed the right steps. What we'll do is we'll reanalyze and we'll go again. See, think back to what Jack Canfield was saying. Instead of seeing a situation, whether it's one trade or a series of trades, and they just seem to just explode in front of us, instead of that becoming a fearful scenario, or it becomes an opportunity for us to put a list of excuses of why we can't do it, if we'll take careful scrutiny and reanalyze what's happened, it will really turn that fear and those excuses, and they'll fade away, they'll evaporate. Because the more that we trade, the more that we practice, the more that we do as traders, the better we are going to get. See, most individuals hide behind excuses. And when I mean most individuals, those are the ones who never seem to achieve the goals that they want to achieve. They never seem to get to the objectives that they've set in front of us, because when things go wrong, an excuse will come out in front and they'll hide behind it. The difference between that person and a successful person, especially in the financial market, the trader who not only wears the name Trader, but puts the hat on and lives it, takes every step in that way. When these situations happen, when there's a great economic challenge, when even the challenge might be a little bit stretching our skills of ourselves, we're not going to hide behind an excuse. The trader will step up to the plate, because they see it as an absolute perfect opportunity to take advantage, because they know that a lot of other individuals are going to create an excuse that will cause them to walk away, that will cause them to try and time the market, that will cause them to step outside of their trading strategy to try and hit that grand slam. See, what we need to do is be the individual that understands that, yes, we know some of the basic foundation steps that we've talked about in the mind of a trader on just the functionality steps. Set up a solid analysis program. Check all of the trading opportunities on whatever market you're working at. Do your analysis deep, deep, deep inside the movement that's happened, and then put your money management, your risk management, and your trading program into action. Once you've got everything set, you're going to execute that trade. Now, does that mean that then you just kind of let your trading strategy do the rest? Absolutely not. Okay? Because it sounds easy to go through those steps. The separation between the excuse person and the step up to the plate person is the one that says, I know that some things are going to happen. Even though I just did all these steps and they seemed easy, I know it's not going to be comfortable. Ladies and gentlemen, you and I as traders can't look for comfort. Chaos is never comfortable. And stretch that out outside of trading. Is it comfortable in a chaotic aspect of your business? Is it comfortable when it seems like everything inside your family is kind of just bouncing all over the place? The kids, the relationships, and everything is going wild? Is it comfortable when every mechanical device you own seems to fall apart at the same time? Is it comfortable when the health things are just hitting everybody? No. When it's chaotic, it's not comfortable. Those are the times when we almost feel shocked. It's outside of our routine. It's outside of what we have done every day. But that's what makes life so interesting, because if we take those situations and cause them to be the type of things that cause huge fears, and then from there it turns into excuses of why I'm just going to sit back and just fade away into the world, then where are we going to go? How are we going to make it do anything? Because life is not comfortable at times. Sometimes it goes smooth as silk, but it's not always. Let's go back to our main focus of today. We have to test things. We have to scrutinize things. We have to analyze and realize, is this truly a fear that I have to approach and deal with? Or is it a fear that I've created because there was some chaos? Is it a fear that I've created because of some excuses? Are they some excuses that I've created because of some friends? Are they some excuses, fears, problems, unexplainable or unanswerable challenges? These are all phrases that we're going to possibly use at times to something that I have approached that maybe I just haven't approached before. How are you and I going to be a better trader? We need to understand that there is no perfect market. There is no 100% winning trade. There is no 100% winning strategy. And I could just go on and on and on with the list, because everyone is striving in this world to try and find that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But it takes those small steps. You have to have a map, but the map is going to have some detours at times. If you and I are looking for a comfortable and relaxing way to trade, we need to have our have our brain washed out with soap. Now, I'm not saying that trading can't be fun. It's tremendous fun in the good times and the challenging times. But the greatest thing, the best thing that I can do to really enjoy my trading, okay, is to accept the fact that it's going to be a little antsy at times, and just understand that if I prepare myself for that unexpected, for that antsiness, that chaos, that panic sometimes, that just weird things that are going to happen, and learn to trust my judgment. Learn to trust the fact that when a fear starts coming up inside of me, that I need to, instead of just willow and wilt and fall apart underneath that fear, that should just pop up a little red flag and say, it's time to analyze because I'm getting fearful. If all of a sudden a true volatility happens in the marketplace and a lot of your trades are just really going the wrong direction for you, do I start making excuses? I should never have made those trades. I should never have gotten into them. I knew that strategy wasn't going to work. I should never have watched that DVD. I shouldn't have been in that class. I shouldn't have read that book. Do I do that? Or does a red flag pop up and say, no, that's not an excuse. An excuse is going to cause me to really make a lot more mistakes. I need to step back, calm down, use my judgment, analyze the situation, and what does my trading strategy truly tell me to do at this point? And if I will do that and not second guess myself, you and I are both going to have the best chances possible to make good choices and to build confidence. See, like some of the best boxers in the world, they learn how to duck and weave. They learn how to get their way out of the direction of that big, hard fist that's coming towards them, even though it's inside of a glove. A trader learns how to move forward and take some hits. Mental toughness, no regrets, move forward. Keep looking for the opening. I'm ducking, I'm weaving, but I'm moving forward. I'm always going forward. I give more than I take. But I need to understand, rest assured, I am going to get hit. But I will not turn that hit into a situation where I become fearful of trading. I will not turn that hit into a situation to start making excuses. I will not let that hit cause me to start doubting my strategy, doubting my skills, doubting my confidence. I will not let a hit cause me to walk away from what I've spent so much time developing in these financial skills of self-discipline, of understanding analysis of the marketplace, of knowing the steps of my trading strategy and applying them with a tremendous amount of clarity and belief. I will not allow bumps in the road to do that. As we said last week, it's all about preparation. The word I gave you last week was preppertunity. That's preparation and opportunity. And if I have that preparation which gives me knowledge, that's what's necessary to enter into this arena of trading. Preparation and knowledge allows me to jump into the opportunity of business, allows me to jump into the opportunity of a new skill, a new hobby, a new relationship, whatever it is that you're stepping on. But you gain confidence that you can take it and you can still keep standing and you can keep on going forward, and you will concentrate in the most chaotic times of trading. Concentration and confidence in where you are instead of excuses and fear are the ones that will let you, even if you have to take a pounding in your attitude, a pounding in your emotions, a pounding in your balance, understand it's not as bad as it seems, because the great ones are the ones that aren't as concerned about how far they might have dropped back, but how far can they bounce back. And that's what you and I are. We are the ones, because you're taking the time, just spending these few minutes with me each week on the Mind of a Trader. You've made a commitment to help yourself to become better, better than we were yesterday, and strive to be better tomorrow than we are today. If you happen to be a first-time listener here and you're thinking of becoming a trader, but you find it hard to accept losing, then start learning about that law of averages. Believe in the understanding that if you do the proper thing over and over and over again, that's what makes traders great, is they do the same successful things over and over again. The law of averages will lean in their favor. It's the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise does it diligently, deliberately, but keeps going forward, while the hare is jumping around all over the place. And at the end, it's the slow and deliberate. Now, I don't mean slow in miles per hour, but slow in being inside of themselves of where they're going. They're not letting fear, excuses, chaotic aspects, volatility keep them from doing what they know needs to be done over and over again. So if you're brand new, take the time to build these skills up. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's not for the one who thinks they can never lose. Trading is for the person who knows that they're willing to learn. They're willing to take the good and the challenges together, and they know that if they'll do that, they'll become a better trader. You're also going to become a better individual in a lot of other aspects of your life. I've told people many times, people that learn to trade see so many other great learning experiences that they can apply to other parts of their life that they never knew was going to happen. I mean, it's like a bonus added on to it. You're going to see so many other ways that you can apply the things you've learned in trading to everything else. So let's get back to our bottom line of where we need to be. As you step into this week of trading, commit to yourself. Look in the mirror and make a commitment that as this week goes on, whatever the bump, whatever the explosion, whatever the situation that comes out that causes you to feel fear inside of you, that causes you then to vocalize that into excuses, stop yourself. Red flag pop up and tell yourself it's time to test this carefully, analyze it, scrutinize it, and then the light will expose that it's not as bad as it seems, because you have the skills to control it, and that thoughtful examination will let those fears and excuses evaporate. Have a wonderful week of trading, and I look forward, as always, to spending time with you next time that we all get together on the Mind of a trader.
This podcast was brought to you by Trading Post Financial. For more information on our company, visit us at tradingpostfinancial.com.